Hello, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and update. Let me see this. Update everybody on where we are with the project. So let me go ahead and jump right into it. If you remember, you guys are doing, along with all the coursework, a project that's focusing on specifically where you're just doing a correlation type study where we're going to examine the relationship between social media use and self-esteem. Okay, so the presentations and your final paper, remember the presentation, you could either present it to me or you can record a video, but this is all due the last week of school. There's only a couple weeks left, so right now I'm going to go ahead and explain to you how to write um, or what I did so you can write the intro as well as the method section. And I'm going to also talk a little bit about the results and how you, and I'll probably make another video for that, but I'll go ahead and show you what I've done. And we'll go ahead and talk about the abstract discussion. So I'm probably not going to put it all in one video, but I'm going to talk a lot about the introduction again in the method section, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the results of what I've done so far so you can get an idea so you can write this up in the abstract. Okay? So let me go ahead and refresh our memory. Let me go back here. So remember, the purpose of this study is to do a correlation where we're looking at the relationship between social media use and self-esteem. The two surveys that I used here are the Rosenberg self-esteem scale as well as the SMUS, which is the social media, I believe, use scale, right? Yeah. So if you see here, what I did was I collected 100 participants at IBC only. Everybody on campus had an equal opportunity. People were randomly selected. I'll go ahead and explain to you how it took place here. But I found this survey online. It's an established survey with it's reliable and valid and highly used to assess social media use. So you can see here it has these questions and it's on a Likert type scale where you have these numbers that are evaluating based off of these questions, which in the end I can get a total score. So you're going to total the social media survey for one participant. Now, the participant also took a self-esteem questionnaire. So, for example, I had 100 people and they only got one link to one survey, but the survey had both of these two surveys that are assessing two different things. So one was for social media use, and the other set of questions is for anxiety. I left these here so you guys could write about them in your methods section. I'll refresh you on how to do that here in a minute, but you guys have to do a lot of independent work, but I'm guiding you on what to do. So these are the two surveys that you will discuss in your methods section. Um, Yeah, so this is how it's measuring. It's based off anxiety here, but I'm not really too sure here. Let me see something. Hold on. Is that the right one? Because that's the one that we used. So I believe GAD 7 here. Yeah, because that actually, if you see here, we totaled these numbers, and then what I did here is if you go here, you'll see how I totaled those surveys in a student participant, right? Because it's only IVC students that are in this. So in the participant section, you'll write about that. I'm going to show you here in a moment. I went ahead and put the Excel file up there, but let me show you how I kind of cleaned mine up a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. So for example, you have 100 people. This is 100 people here. You guys don't have to collect any data. I already did it. I gave these two surveys to 100 people. Actually, what was it? We had 109 people. And if you see this person right here could be just, let's just say this person is Joe. Person one, Joe. It doesn't matter, right? And if you remember from the two surveys I showed you, there was a bunch of questions, but you can total them. And that's what we went ahead and did here. I had totaled these numbers here because this was a student, somebody had did this last semester, so I went ahead and kept it. I think I changed the titles of the surveys here just for fun of the class, and I'm just trying to have you guys do it simple. So it might seem a little confusing, but it's not. Your introduction section is going to have a section on social media use, a section on self-esteem, a section on how they overlap, and also how it's relevant to college that leads up to your hypothesis. So your introduction section will end with your hypothesis. You have a title page. You're also going to have an abstract. So look at this. I went ahead and ran. I'm going to do another video on this later, but I went ahead and ran the correlation here. And there's actually a positive correlation, which is very interesting. So you can write about that in the abstract. I'm going to make a separate video, but you would put that in the abstract. There was a positive correlation, right? The higher self-esteem some students had, the higher social media use was present, which is very interesting. So the thing is you don't know that yet. When meaning like pretend I didn't say that exactly. You could write that in the abstract. However, when you're writing your introduction section, I want you guys to write what generates your hypothesis based off of the papers that you've been reading. That's very important. You guys have been doing your own literature review. So let me go ahead and refresh your memory here. So if you go to the home page, um, you're going to see let's see here. This section, also remember, this is a video here that you could watch of Alyssa's PowerPoint on APA writing. She works at SDSU, just a refresher. The poster template on how to make your poster is already here. You would just present one slide of your information to me or a recording. My paper that I did here, now I'm going to go ahead and kind of communicate what I just said to you in my words, in my paper, but make it relevant to what you guys are doing. So everybody's title page should have social media use and self-esteem in there. Some people put social media topics that I have no idea that are not related to anything that we're doing for this uh, class. I already told you what we were doing and what we found, and now you're going to kind of work a little backwards just to construct an idea of how to do a paper. So you're going to see my abstract. The abstract's always done last, but you're going to see how I gave you the results right now, and you could write about that. You could follow what I did here. There was 109 students that I did from IVC, okay? And you could just plug in your words, right? So follow the abstract formula. See what I did. Keywords, everything there from every, oh yeah, and by the way, some of you guys are still putting the old running head rule. That's out of date, right? So always follow the most recent APA manual, and you don't have to put the running head anymore. So if you see here the introduction section, you're going to have a section on social media use. You're going to have a section on self-esteem. You're going to have a section on how they're related. You're going to have a section on college. You're going to see how you're going to end with the last section here on your hypothesis. See how I formulated that from very general to very specific. And then your method section, I had 100 participants. You're going to talk about them. They were IVC students, right? You can plug in what you know from here into this so far. You can write about the instruments used. Those are the two surveys. You're going to have to look them up and learn about them, and you could plug them in there. Let's see the procedure. You know, the way basically the way I did it was is I collected them by walking around campus and I created a QR code where it was passed all around campus. So that's how it was collected. There was 109 students, and they took those two surveys. And it took about, I mean, 10 minutes maybe. So the results, I'm gonna stop here because I'm gonna make a separate video for that. But the results, I'm gonna go over this slide here. Okay, so these are the descriptive statistics up top. If you want to snap a photo of this, you can, but here's the Pearson correlation. So there's a positive correlation, and the correlation coefficient is 0.212. So I'm gonna show you how you would write up your results, but your results, you know, you're going to put them together, but your discussion is talking about your results. So that's what's going to go into those sections. So for now, just think about what I've told you and start constructing what you can. Don't think about what you can't do, okay? So just focus on that. And like I said, I'm going to make another video here focusing specifically on the results and the poster presentation with the discussion. All right, so that's all I have for right now. Thank you so much. I'm very sorry that it took me a minute to make this video. My son fell and broke his arm, and it's been a really crazy last few days. So forgive me. Everything seems to be okay now, but that's why it took me a minute to make this video. But I'm available if you need me, okay? So have a great rest of the day, and I will see everyone later.